Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 65th chapter. Lord Balaram visits Vrindavan. And today, we're reading texts 28 through 31. Rama Rama Mahabaho. Rama Rama Mahabaho. Na jane tava vikramam. Na jane tava vikramam. Yasya ekangshe na vidrita. Yasya ekangshe na vidrita. Jagati jagatakpate. Jagati jagatakpate. Translation. Goddess Jamuna said, Rama Rama, Almighty Armed One, I know nothing of your prowess. With a single portion of yourself, you hold up the earth, O Lord of the universe. Purport. The phrase Ekankshena, with a single portion, refers to the Lord's expansion as Shesha. This is confirmed by the Acharyas. 29. Parambhavam Bhagavato Bhagavan Ma Majanatim Muktumarhasi Vishvatman Prapannam Bhaktavatsala. My Lord, please release me, O soul of the universe. I didn't understand your position as the Supreme Godhead, but now I have surrendered unto you, and you're always kind to your devotees. 30. Tato vimunchat yamunam yachito Bhagavan Balaha Vijagaha jalang stribhi karenu bhirive barat. Shukadeva Goswami continued, thereupon Lord Balaram released the Jamuna, and like the king of the elephants with his entourage of she-elephants, entered the river's water with his female companions. 31. Kamam vivritya salilad utirnya satitambare Bhushanani maharhani tadau kanti shubham srajam. The Lord played in the water to his full satisfaction, and when he came out, Goddess Kanti presented him with blue garments, precious ornaments, and a brilliant necklace. Purport. Srila Shira Swami quotes from the Vishnu Purana to show that the goddess Kanti mentioned here is actually Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Varuna prahita chasmai malam amlana pankajam samudrabhe tatha vastre nile lakshmi ayachchata. Sent by Varuna, goddess Lakshmi then presented him with a garland of unfading lotuses and a pair of garments colored blue, like the ocean. The great Bhagavatam commentator Srila Sridhar Swami also quotes the following statement from Sri Hari Vangsha, spoken by goddess Lakshmi to Lord Balaram. Jatarupa mayam chaikam kundalam vajrabhushanam adipadmam chapatmakyam divyang shravanabhushanam deve mam pratigrinishva pauranim bhushana kriyam. O Lord, please accept as divine ornaments for your ears this single gold earring studded with diamonds and this primeval lotus called Padma. Kindly accept them, for this act of adornment is traditional. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti further points out that Goddess Lakshmi is the consort of the Lord's plenary expansion, Sankarshana, who belongs to the second Vyuha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam jena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanyamanoਭीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदामह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Guru Dinotaranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. With the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, here, Jamuna Devi is glorifying and appeasing Balaram, who had dragged her with his plow and forced her to submit. She's glorifying the Lord by calling him Mahabaho, Almighty Armed One. Balaram is the source of all power. He's the source of all potency. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Nyamena Tishtan Nadnavatara Nakarod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayak Samabhavak Paramak Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. As we have heard yesterday, Balaram is like Krishna, just that he's white. He's the first expansion, the first emanation. And his service is to render service to Krishna. And he does so in all the different rasas. For that he expands and takes on different forms to serve the Lord in his different capacities. So Krishna is very pleased by the service that Balaram renders. Here, he went to Vrindavan on this very confidential mission to try to console the inhabitants of Vrindavan, because Krishna has been away for so long. And Balaram is giving solace to all the inhabitants of Vrindavan by talking about Krishna, by talking about Krishna's pastimes and expanding his glories. And at night, he's performing his own pastimes with the gopis, different gopis who were too young to take part in Krishna's Rasa Leela. And he is calling the Jamuna closer, yet first she did not respond. And then he took his plow weapon, and he dragged her by force. So now Jamuna is submitting, and she's glorifying the Lord and appeasing him with these prayers, saying that she knew nothing of his prowess, that with a single portion of yourself you hold up the earth, O Lord of the universe. So Krishna, his different expansions, his different potencies, he holds up the universe just with the expansion of the expansion. Krishna doesn't have to do these things, these tasks himself personally. He has his different manifestations do these functions. So Anantadev is taking that service, and Yamuna Devi is praising him in that way, in that Shesha form. Then she's asking for release. She's asking for forgiveness. Stating that she didn't know his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But now that she has surrendered unto him, he should please be merciful, since the Lord is always kind to his devotees. Excuse me. So here we can see what is the proper course of action when we get chastised. When we get chastised, usually, what is the first reaction? Have you ever been chastised? Hard to remember, right? Nothing comes to mind, right? It's all blank. Has this ever happened to you? Or is it just me? Huh? So there's different ways how to deal with chastisement, and we'll speak about that just a little bit. One we already heard yesterday, when the Kauravas got Lord Balaram's chastisement, initially they wouldn't have it. They were just rejecting it. They're saying, this is all wrong, this is all irrelevant. We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna surrender Samba and the girl. In fact, who do you think you are telling me something? And the reaction was quite strong. It was quite drastic. Balaram, he started pulling Hastinapur towards the river, and the whole city was risking to be destroyed. So, worst case scenario when you get chastised is you try to fight it and you try to accuse the other party. That's usually the wrong course of action. Especially for devotees. Devotees should always ask themselves, what is the lesson here? What is the lesson? What can I learn from this? What does Krishna want to teach me here? One time, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, he was reading the Sankirtan newsletter to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada was very happy. He praised him. He was very excited. He gave wonderful words of appreciation. And very soon later, similar scenario, he again extolled the glories of the Bhakti Sibhushan. And Srila Prabhupada was very stern. And he told him, Krishna is the doer. You're not the doer. This is a very good instruction for all devotees, but especially for the former, current, and future incarnations of Bhakti Sibhushan, that don't think that you are the doer. Don't think you're the person who's actually making it happen. Krishna is the one who is making it happen. You're fortunate to be there to witness Krishna's miracle. Mahabodhi Prabhu told me that one time he went with Bhakti Tirtha Swami to different colleges in the United States to get standing orders for Srila Prabhupada's books. But the college was closed, so no one was there. Bhakti Tirtha Swami, then known as Ganashyam Prabhu, he said, well, I need to use the restroom. And Mahabodhi said, don't be long because we have many hours to drive to the next college. So he went to the restroom, and there was another man. So he started talking to him. Turns out he's a professor of anthropology, and he sold him a standing order of Srila Prabhupada's books in the restroom. And then he had him call his friend who was in charge of the language department, Sanskrit, Southeastern Studies, and he got him also to buy a set of Prabhupada's books while using the restroom. Because he had such a burning desire to please Srila Prabhupada by distributing his books. Prabhupada responded by empowering him. So, when we have this situation that we're facing challenges, there is the first reaction, usually we want to fight it. Have you noticed? Are your first reflexes, you want to fight it? Yeah? And then things usually tend to get worse. You have noticed. 3 people have noticed. Yeah? But at one point, acceptance sets in, where we actually accept, okay, this is part of Krishna's plan, and there's a lesson to be learned for me. And then, usually, an opportunity for service arises. I was up in Rishikesh with some friends doing Harinam Sankirtan and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And one tourist, one loud American, if you know what that means, he grabbed the Bhagavad Gita and threw it on the street. So he had a little altercation with one of the devotees, and I tried to calm him down, and I got in the middle of the fight. Another lesson, never get in the middle of when two people are fighting. It's a bad idea, as will be shown very soon. So we went out on our business, chanting Hare Krishna and distributing. But after half an hour, the same loud American with about 4 policemen showed up. And they asked, who's in charge? And they all pointed to me. Said, he the guy. So they said, okay, we're going to take you in because this person has been assaulted and he wants to file a complaint. So, not very good, right? Not very good situation. So I asked, well, before you take me in, can I have a word with this gentleman? Because I like to just clarify. And they said, yeah, sure. This is India, nice people. Even the police is nice. So I sat with him on a bench, and I asked him, what is your problem? Why are you so angry? And he just burst out, you changed the books, you poisoned Prabhupada, the women, the children, this, that. He went on and on. After about 10 minutes, I said, have you finished? He said, no, I have not finished. And he went on and on and on and on. And I realized, okay, if someone's giving it to you, you better take it, especially if the cops are waiting to book you. So he said, I'm going to put you in jail. I'm going to make sure you never come back to India. You know, a whole bunch of nice things. So I just heard him out. Because it was not the situation to argue or to put up a fight. Then I asked him again when he was quiet, so have you finished? He said, yes, I have finished. I said, you know, actually, it's much worse. What you have described is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just what you can see as an outsider. There's much more to it. It's actually much worse. I've been in this movement for 40 years. But I have chosen to be part of the solution. Rather than criticizing and attacking, I chose to stick around and try to be part of the solution by taking a group of devotees here to chant and dance and distribute these books and prasadam, because I feel that has much more impact than criticism and accusations. But if anyone has ever wronged you, if you ever felt offended that somebody went against you, I'm sorry, and I sincerely apologize for that. And I hope you can forgive us, and you appreciate our effort. He was quiet, then he got up, and he gave me a big hug, and he walked over to the police, and he said, it's over, you can go home. And the police said, what? No case? No money? No action? No, case is over. You can go home now. And we went back chanting, and every day he came and he looked from afar and he was observing us to make sure that we were doing what we're supposed to be doing. So when people are sometimes critical, it's sometimes important that we just hear them out, that we just take it and don't immediately respond and fight back. So when you get feedback, don't fight back. Okay, got it? Can you put that down? All right, message to self. When you get feedback, don't fight back. I remember growing up as a young devotee. I was 15, so I had a lot of older brothers and older sisters and uncles and aunties. It was wonderful. Everybody told me what to do. It was great. Can you imagine? Now it's a different time, like now no one's going to tell you what to do, which is a good thing if you know what you're supposed to be doing. But if you don't, it's not such a good time. One time I didn't join yet. I hadn't yet successfully dropped out of 9th grade. I was still going to school. But it was on the weekend, twice a month, I was allowed by my mom to go to the temple. So I was chanting my rounds. I did 4 rounds back then, in the temple room. And Mukundadatta Prabhu, our head pujari here, who also was serving in Zurich, Switzerland, he came out from behind the curtains and he asked me, "What mantra are you chanting?" Yeah, my mind also went a little bit like that. But I was young and I was happy to be instructed by everybody. And I'm grateful for him for having done that. Later on, Harinamananda Prabhu, my older brother and Sankirtan leader, when I asked him, "Where are we going today to distribute?" He said, "Wrong question. It's my job to figure out where we go to distribute. It's your job to distribute the books." So all I knew was, okay, the door opens, I jump out like the rabbit, And at 6:30, I have to be there on the street corner because they're going to pick me up. On my first day, I distributed 5 books. One lady took 3, and another 2 people took 1 book each. Our Sankirtan leader, Rohini Sura Prabhu, who was the overall, he asked me, "So somebody took 3 books? Did you show her the set?" And I said, "No, I didn't have a set." So he said, "Tomorrow you go back and you bring her the set." I thought, she already took 3 books. Why would she take the set? So next day, knock on the door, she opens, she says, "Oh, I know you. You're the same guy from yesterday." I said, "Yes, but yesterday I didn't have what I actually wanted to bring you, but today I have it. Can I show it to you?" She said, "Yeah, sure." So I put all the books on the kitchen table, and she said, "Sure, I'll take it." And I realized if I surrender to the instructions of my authority, I will actually become empowered to do things that are beyond my own capacity. So I was just reading last night, King Satyavrat, who found this little fish, and this fish started talking to him and asking him for protection. And he gave him shelter because he's a kshatriya, but then the fish grew, and he needed a bigger place. And then he grew, and he needed a bigger place. It's almost like, the devotees of the temple, it grows and they need a bigger place. And at the end, he was in the ocean, and he realized this is the Lord. But as he surrendered, so his capacity to perform service increased. And so the Lord's appetite to receive service also increased. So if we look at all these beautiful devotees that are here in Vrindavan, where have they come from? This place was pretty quiet. I remember the first time I was here in '86, you could walk Parikram Marg barefoot, and it was mostly just dirt. You remember those days? Before the cars and the asphalt and all the madness came in? And now there's people everywhere and cars. And we wonder, where have they come from? They come from the pen of Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada has expanded the glories of Vrindavan all over the world. So we have people from all over the world who come here to experience Vrindavan. That's why they're here. That's why we're here. Because of Srila Prabhupada's books. So, how to appreciate chastisement is not always so easy, because chastisement comes in different ways, and oftentimes not in a way that is so easy to appreciate. Harikesh Prabhu was saying how once he was serving Srila Prabhupada in India. There was no proper kitchen facility. So he was making chapati on a little electric stove, and the chapatis didn't puff up. So Srila Prabhupada was not happy. He rejected them. And he chastised him. And Harikesh said, no one can make chapatis on this stove. And Prabhupada said, no one can make chapatis. And he got up, he was eating. He got up, he washed his hands, and he walked into the kitchen. And he rolled the chapati. He put it on the stove, and it didn't pop up. And Harikesh went, and Prabhupada got heated. He got emotional, he got a little agitated. He rolled another one. It didn't pop up. And Prabhupada really was getting very focused, very concentrated. He rolled another one, and it popped up. And he took it with the thongs, and he threw it in Harikesh's face. And he walked out of the kitchen. Srila Prabhupada ki! So, then, after some time, he sent him away to Russia. And he thought, why Russia? Why me? Because he was with Prabhupada. And when you're with the spiritual master, you're in the bubble. You're in the ecstasy of just serving the pure devotee, and you don't want to be anywhere else doing anything else. But then comes that moment where he says, off you go. And it's very hard to take. We hear that some devotees were traveling with Srila Prabhupada through Delhi on the train, about a dozen of them. And in Delhi, an Indian gentleman came on the train, and he said, Swamiji, we need a temple in Delhi, we need a center here. And Srila Prabhupada said, so, you will help? And the man said, yes, I will help. So Prabhupada looked around the compartment and he said, you, and you, get off the train. So he just kicked them off the train. And he gave them 50 rupee loan, not donation, loan, to be paid back. And they went. And they struggled, but they did it. And now there's 18 temples in Delhi by the sacrifice of the first pioneers and all the other generations that came, and His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj with all his followers. And it's still expanding. It's still expanding. Why? Because the devotees are always trying to see where is the opportunity for service. How can we render more service? And then Balaram, with his unlimited potency, with his unlimited power, he makes the arrangement for the devotees to be allowed to do more service. So, when we get chastised, we have the option of asking, what is the lesson? And how can I be of service? And then things will change. The whole chemistry, the whole dynamic will change. So the next time you get into an argument, ask yourself, okay, what is the lesson? And how can I serve? How can I be part of the solution? And all of a sudden, the energy shifts, and something positive will happen. One time I was walking with Burijan Prabhu in Govardhan, and he told me, this is the same Burijan Prabhu that Srila Prabhupada sent to Hong Kong. And there wasn't anything happening there. And after some time, he left. And Prabhupada said, you just go back to Hong Kong and you sit in an apartment and you chant Hare Krishna. And you don't go anywhere. I want you to be in Hong Kong. So, and another time, he had given Srila Prabhupada a beautiful ring. And when Prabhupada was having massage his servant, he asked Prabhupada, oh, that's a new ring. Who gave you that ring? And Srila Prabhupada said, oh, somebody. He didn't say who it was. So he kept it very sweet, very confidential. He didn't reveal it. So he asked me, Burijan Prabhu, he told me that there is something I wanted to tell you for 2 years. Did somebody ever tell you that? There's something I wanted to tell you for the past 2 years. I mean, usually people can't hold something in their mind for more than 2 minutes, right? They got immediately, I got to tell you everything. So naturally I was paying attention as we were walking to his room. And he said, right now is the most important time of your life because you're investing in your foundation. What you do now will be the foundation for whatever is to come. And I thought, wow, after 36 years, I'm working on my foundation. That's pretty interesting. Huh? That's pretty interesting. And then he continued, he said, the first question we should ask ourselves is, who am I? And he answered, I'm a servant. Huh? The second question, who occupies the sacred space in my heart? Who do you worship in your sacred space of your heart? Who is there? Is it Prabhupada? Is it the Diksha Guru? Is it Radhashyama Sundar? Who is there? Who do you worship every day in your heart? And the third question, what is your contribution for this ISKCON movement? As we're getting older, some of us are getting younger, but some of us are getting older. We ask ourselves, okay, what is it that I'm going to leave behind? What is my legacy? What is my contribution? And that puts things into perspective because we start prioritizing. We start choosing our battles. We start to see, okay, I may not have all the time and all the gas in the tank to pick every fight and to get involved in every situation. Maybe I should focus on service. Some of my godbrothers, as I mentioned, most of them, they were like 8 to 10 years older than me, which was really beautiful because I had so many older brothers and sisters and everyone was taking care of me. It was great. And now many of them are reaching 65, age of retirement, right? And I kept in touch with many of them. And they said, yeah, we'll retire and we'll stop chasing it, whatever it is. And then some of them said, well, we extend it till 70. And I thought, when is it going to end? I'd rather stop chasing it now while I have the choice rather than wait and be forced to chase it later. So, when we're looking for service, so many opportunities come up. And Krishna does it in mysterious ways, just like King Satyavrat. He had unlimited opportunity for service because he surrendered. There's a beautiful purport in that pastime where Srila Prabhupada, he quotes, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja ahang tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. And he says that this is the greatest benediction. This is the greatest benediction. What is the benediction? That if you surrender to Krishna, then Krishna protects you. He protects you from what? What is the greatest fear? The greatest fear is to stray away from devotional service, to become absorbed in nunam pramata kurutevi karma yad indriya pritaya aprenoti nasaru manyeyata atmanoyam asana piklesha da ashadeha. To again become maddened by all the glitz and all the random moving objects of this world. But we can only truly take shelter in service if we have the blessings of the Vaishnavas. It is through the blessings of the Vaishnavas, of the devotees, that we came to this movement. And it is through their blessings that we can stay. Now, we see Kirtan is becoming popularized around the world, and people are gathering in many, many places. In San Antonio, Texas, we went to a Unity Church. Have you heard of Unity Church? And they asked us to do Kirtan, and their whole congregation came and participated. Christian church. So there's Kirtans in so many venues, in so many places. Yet we should also ask ourselves, okay, we're doing Kirtan, but are we also going out to share Kirtan with others? Are we doing that? Are we doing Harinam Sankirtan? Srila Prabhupada wanted to expand this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, all over the world. How is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? Huh? We're just a few. How is it going to happen? Like Lord Chaitanya said, you chant Hare Krishna and you serve the Vaishnavas. And then what happens is more people become attracted by that formula and they want to be part of that team, and then they will go out and chant Hare Krishna and serve the Vaishnavas. And more people will be attracted and they will chant Hare Krishna and want to be part of that. And in this way, the chanting of Hare Krishna will expand all over the world. Huh? I met a boy and a girl in London. They were in their early 20s, and they're from Italy, and they said, every time when we saw the Harinam in Milano, we joined in. We just ran away from our parents and just participated in the Harinam. And our parents couldn't do anything because we just liked it too much and we just took part in the Harinam. So, when the Harinam expands, then the service opportunity expands. I was in one temple in South America and gave the Sunday feast talk. And afterwards, the devotees were sitting and talking to each other and taking prasadam. And I walked out to the car and I met the Mormons, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Evangelicals. I met 4 different Christian groups going door to door canvassing for their mission. Meanwhile, we're sitting in our nice Sangha. But if we're not going out without Jivadoya, without Jivadoya and Vaishnav Seva, Namruchi is not really attainable. Because this is our tradition, this is our legacy, that we ought to make plans how we can expand the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then Balaram will empower us. He will empower us to see past all the little incongruities and the things that don't add up. There's always so many excuses why not to surrender. Have you noticed how it's easy to find excuses? Does your mind ever give you excuses? Anyone? Yeah? But then the daring thing to do is, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to surrender and see what is Krishna's plan. What is it that Krishna wants me to do? I remember Bhuvaneshwar Prabhu, who regularly walked up to me and in his very dry way asked me, are you chanting the pure name? One time I was with him in Melbourne and he had to renew his visa. And we were there at the same time. And he was supposed to stay for a week, but after 3 days his visa came through. And he told me, I'm going back tomorrow. I said, why? It's Melbourne, not a bad place, you know. I mean, especially the temple, it's pretty wonderful. Mahaprabhu Mandir there. And he said, I called Vrindavan, there's 5 guys who can't do what I did, so I have to go back. I'm going back tomorrow. He was focused on service. It wasn't about recreation or taking a break. Prabhupada's recreation was taking 2 buses to go to the Library of Congress to visit his 3 volumes of first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. That was Prabhupada's recreation. He went there to see his books and to see how many people had taken the books out. That was his recreation. So, Balaram represents Guru Tattva, and Guru Tattva is often not fully understood. Like nowadays, we can see that, we had a meeting with some RGBs, some regional secretaries of a certain zone, and I gave them a report about my tour, and then I gave a suggestion for room for improvement, systematic education and training. And one of the RGBs said, but we have systematic education. We have the ISKCON Disciple Course. And I was tempted to say, well, that's a 1 or 2 day course that people take before they get initiated. It's supposed to be taken before you choose a guru, before you take shelter. But oftentimes it's just being taken before people get initiated. So the question was raised a few days ago, what is my rasa with my spiritual master? You remember, right? Huh? Kind of interesting, isn't it? What is my rasa with my guru? There's only one rasa. It's called dasya rasa. It's called I am the servant and you're the spiritual master. Now, if after many years of service, the spiritual master wants to extend himself and show his mercy through friendship and affection, that is his prerogative. But we cannot demand it. But there is no Madhurya Ras in relationship with the spiritual master. We have seen too many devotees who've fallen in love with their guru, and then they've fallen out of love with their guru, and they went what they call Shantaras, that you're okay and I'm okay. You know that kind of relationship? You're okay and you're over there and I'm over here and we're both okay. But Shantaras is not a relationship that's sustainable with the spiritual master. We have to actively seek guidance. We have to actively seek out instructions. Otherwise, there is every chance to take things for granted and then to lose the appreciation. To lose the appreciation means that other things become more important, that we get swayed, we get attracted by our own ideas, our own plans, our own justifications. So we're very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has given us the tattva and the rasa in such a perfect combination, in such a combo, that we can actually assimilate it. We can actually apply it. The process works. You were here for yesterday's class, right? Would you say the process works? How many of you think the process works? The process works, right? It's working. So, the only question is, what is the lesson for me and how can I surrender? So, the takeaway from this beautiful pastime is that when you get chastised, take it and appreciate the other person. And you will see that the opportunity for service and an opportunity for growth in Krishna consciousness will manifest. Hare Krishna. Questions, comments, or reflections?
We get disappointed by the things that do happen in our society. Sometimes we use that as an impetus to back off from being actively engaged in service to the Guru and just wanting to be more or less, on your own and not really be involved with the society that allows, so many substandard activities to be taking place. So how do we mentally adjust ourselves to that? Like, we can't always fix everything, and we recognize there's a lot of faults in the society. But how do we not utilize that as a crutch to make us kind of avoid being part of the society?
Thank you.
Retreat.
Thank you. I was in North Carolina with Hridayananda Maharaj, and I asked him something similar. And his response was, after we went through a few scenarios, his response was, Navina, whoever appointed you as Yamaraj? Whoever appointed you as Yamaraj? And I thought that was funny. I thought, no, I just, as you, I just try to make sense of it in my own head and to for my own edification and then to be a role model and example for others. So it's natural that we're humans, we have emotions, so there are emotional responses, but that shouldn't be the end of it. We should also understand what is Krishna trying to teach us here, that there is human conditioning all the way through, as we can see when we study the history. And if we try to see what's Krishna's lesson here and what's the service opportunity, then we will always tread a safe path. But if I chose to go into confrontation mode or into attacking mode, then it usually, everyone gets destroyed. It's just everyone goes down in flames. It doesn't really help the situation. At some point, we have our Vidura moments, when you feel like it's time to go for a long japa walk. It may not take 20 years, but it may take a while. And then to reassess, okay, what is my commitment? Where is my loyalty? Is it to an acronym or to a legal construct? Or is it to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada's Sankirtan effort? So there is always room for improvement, starting with myself. And when I see that, I get reminded of my own homework. I get reminded of my own shortcomings. Why am I taking it in such a bad way? Just like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, there's racism in your ISKCON movement. Srila Prabhupada said, yes. And if you're disturbed by it, you're no better than them. So it forces us to come to the higher platform. It's easy to point blame, to accuse, to criticize, but how can we be part of the solution? How can we actually make a difference? That's where the game changer comes in. That's where okay, what can we do about this? Education is the tide that raises all the boats. So, how much education do we have? And I'm not talking about a 1 or 2 day course before you get initiated. I'm talking about systematic education and training all the way through. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but thank you for your reflection.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm sure you know the letter where Srila Prabhupada responds to a devotee who speaks about that, the difficulties in serving. And Prabhupada answered very nicely, all I ever received was compression, depression, what's the other one? Repression, compression, and depression from my God brothers. But I had the order from my spiritual master. Ultimately, it goes back to that one thing, your spiritual master's order, and to do service, even though these things are always there, coming from ourselves, coming from others. So, yes.
Thank you for sharing, Shrutakirti Prabhu. Yeah, remember, sometimes it wasn't easy, I had so many people telling me what to do, and I got sent here, got sent there, but there was no other option. So either surrender to it or not. So I chose surrender, and I'm glad I did, because it made not just life easier back then, but it gave me it gave me the Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudrida Nishchoy, Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. It gave me the faith that the process works. And if I surrender to the process, doesn't necessarily always mean my immediate authority. You can still negotiate. You can still plead your case. Like one time I wanted to give a donation to my spiritual master, and the temple president, who was also a disciple, he was also there. And he said, no, he's a brahmachari. He has to give the money to the temple. And the guru said, no, he can give it to me. And so there was a bit of that going on. And I was just like, hey, you guys sort it out. You figure it out amongst yourself. I'm just the one who wants to render service. So I saw that if I truly have a service attitude and not a vested interest, then mashu chaha. Nothing to fear, right? Nothing to worry about. But as soon as I think, what's my angle? What am I going to benefit from this? What is my stake in this? I become compromised immediately. Any other? How are we doing time-wise? There's no watch here. 3 minutes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question related to the verse, and I have another question as well. So, should I go with the verse one first?
As you like, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay. So, in the verse it says, it's a very simple question, that blue garments were presented to Lord Balaram, and he was gifted a very special, with Padma and diamonds, one gold earring. Is that why Lord Balaram wears blue garments? Because he was gifted those? That's one question. And should he be...
I couldn't hear it. You know, the acoustics are really bad.
So, in the verse...
Maybe it's just I need some of those, little things, but...
That's all right. In the verse...
Yeah, I heard the part about
yeah,
the
so the
garments
question
and everything.
was...
Just the last line, with the question mark.
The question was, is that why Lord Balaram wears blue garments? Because that's what he was gifted?
No, he likes that, and that's why he got what he liked, because that's that's his style.
And does
That's how he rolls.
Got it. And then does he wear just one earring in his ear? That's
what it says. If you don't like it, you have to ask him. You have to take it up with him.
No, that's not what I was hinting towards, but you just said that.
Okay, other
But
question?
the other question was that you made this very important point about vested interest. And I understand that that's actually the crux of it all, where our interest lies in whatever we are doing, our thought, which become words and then action. So if somebody is practicing Krishna consciousness for many years, but with a vested interest, could you just elaborate on that, what happens?
It means progress will be very slow. One time I was in Mayapur, I asked my spiritual master to come stay with me because he's staying at Senior Brahmacharya Ashram, which is like Howrah Station. It's a very busy, noisy, and dirty place. If you haven't been to Howrah Station, you missed out. And he said, yes, I will come. And he didn't come, so a few days later I asked him again, will you come and stay with me? He said, yes, I will come. He didn't come. After a few days I asked him again, and he said, yes, I will try. And I realized, don't try to manipulate your spiritual master. Don't have an ulterior motive, your own agenda, and try to enforce that upon other people, and justifying it with your own logic, you already made it up. I realized, dasosmi means I'm supposed to be the servant, and he wants to set an example. One time we were in Bhubaneswar in the airport, and there was only 2 check-in counters. Both said the same airline and the same flight. Both had people there, but one had a long queue, a long line of people, and the other one was empty. So me and queues were not friends. So I just walked straight up to the empty counter, and I wanted to check in the luggage. But then I turned around, and I saw my spiritual master already went to the end of the queue. And I realized sometimes it's not about being faster, smarter, more prolific, more assertive, more productive, but sometimes it's about doing the right thing, which means surrender to Krishna's plan. And that means I don't have all the answers, I need help, and that's why I'm very grateful to be in this ISKCON movement, because Prabhupada has created this Sangha of devotees who help to propagate the holy name, the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I'm eternally indebted to all my older brothers and sisters and uncles and aunties for tolerating me, lavishing affection on me, tolerating me and guiding me in my Krishna consciousness. It's because of their prayers, their sacrifices, their tears that we're here today. So, thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.